All right, I'm gonna try an experiment. I'm gonna actually do a whole video on experiments at some point this summer, but when I was 17, 18 years old, I started doing experiments on all kinds of weird stuff as I was growing up. Like, I am left-handed, but I would pretend that I was right-handed for like a month. I once did a macrobiotic diet for a month. That was disgusting. Tried to be vegetarian for a month and vegan for a month and so on and so forth. But I wanna try an experiment this summer, and that is going to be weekly vlogs. I am a not-so-single dad. That means that my wife works a lot, and this is the first summer since I was 13 years old that I'm not going to work a 9-to-5 job this summer. I am going to just work on YouTube and stay home with my kids and do that kind of stuff. So here's my experiment. I don't have the time to do a daily vlog because I have to feed people or they will not make it through the summer. Instead, I thought I would do a weekly vlog. Brush all the stuff that we do in a regular week into a day. Part of this experiment is trying longer form content. A lot of people are doing long form content on YouTube. I think it's interesting, it intrigues me, so I'm gonna experiment with it. Will it succeed? Will it fail? I have no idea. I'm gonna give it a shot anyway. If it sucks, guess what? At least I have a journal of my summertime with my children, and that's fine with me. I'm gonna try and put it out every Sunday, so this is the first one. It's not all super exciting, but here's where the value comes in for this. That's not just for me, and maybe for some of you as well that watch the regular teacher stuff. I talk about myself a lot in the classroom. My students know everything from who was my girlfriend in the kindergarten. That's right. She was the fastest girl in class. I was the fastest boy. It was a match made in heaven. They know about what the name of my first car was. Dr. Love Bus. They know what my son and I do every single Tuesday night. Man night. They know that my daughter and I built a fairy garden under the tree in the backyard. That's right, folks. Actual fairies live there. This might not be the right move for everyone, so don't everyone just go and telling your students every single thing about your life. But I think for me, the motivation there for sharing this stuff with students is that it gives them a sense of who I am as a real human being, and I'm not just someone that shows up to work every day, goes home and like reads books and grades tests at night, but I'm an actual live human being. I have people that love me, I have people that I love, I have people that I take care of, I have a wife that I have a relationship with. I think that stuff gives me the opportunity to get kids to share about their lives, and when you're reading literature, that's really important. So here it is, week 1 of the Real Rap with the Reynolds weekly summer vlog thing. The other day, me and the kids went to the park. We're working on a new experiment in the Reynolds household this summer, which is self-reliance, trying to get my kids to be a little bit more in charge of their own lives. And so sometimes when you let your kids dress themselves, you get a little hairy, but we did it anyway. I also have an aversion to dirt. I really like getting dirty when I want to get dirty, but like kids are gross. Parents, you know this. And so when you go... You're not gross. I was talking about other kids in general, not you.
I'm not gross.
You're not gross. I love you. So when we go to the park, I try to like hold that in, just let my kids get as nasty as they want to get, as dirty as they want to get, and try not to say anything about it. I'm pretty sure this was a bad parenting move, but I am severely allergic to poison ivy. I mean, I get it and I look like I have leprosy all of a sudden. There's huge welts all over my skin, giant bumps filled with crap in them. It's disgusting. I'm nervous that my kids are always going to get poison ivy and then get on me. So I have them thinking that just about everything is poison ivy, which is really bad. I realize this. There were a couple times when I didn't think it was going to be poison ivy, and it was, and then I got it, and then it was disgusting, and I have to hide, and I can't go in the stores because people stare at me. It's terrible. So now they're terrified of it also, which is like that.
What?
Probably a bad parenting move.
What?
Well, you heard something, like what? A werewolf? I don't really know who's walking who sometimes. I don't know if she's walking him or if it's the other way around. I seriously admire this sometimes. Let's make a dam was the idea while we were in the park the other day. So they just grabbed all these sticks. There had been a storm recently. Start piling sticks across the stream there. And it just, sometimes I just watch this stuff in awe because I really miss it, I think. And I miss like that sense of kind of wonder as a child where you would do stuff like that, and giving kids really just gives you an excuse to do all that stuff again. What are we doing?
We're building a dam.
Did you just curse?
No, I was gonna say thing.
Oh.
A dam. Okay, I'm kidding.
dog in the water, in the creek, or in Jersey here we call it the crick. It's a good idea on the front end and it looks funny, but then he's gonna stink for the rest of the day and look at his skinny little legs.
Hey, watch out, watch out. No.
I mean, how can you say no? It's summertime. Look at this dude. City dog. He doesn't know what to do with himself in this environment.
Can we cross it? I'm doing it.
In flip-flops you want to do it?
Yeah. So.
I don't know if that's a good idea.
I did it! I did it! Okay, now to do it fast.
Then last week we went up to New York City. One of my favorite YouTubers, my internet friend Glenn, who has a channel called Beleaf in Fatherhood that I talked about on the Father's Day vlog the other day. He was doing a meetup in New York City and I thought, heck yeah, I'll go up to New York City and do a meetup. We got to go to Times Square. Went to the American Girl store, doll store thing. We got to eat hot dogs.
First, New York hot dog. First, New York hot dog.
I'm still starving. Let's go find a salad for the 40-year-olds. We went to Radio City Music Hall, which no one knew what that was. We saw members of The Roots walk into the NBC studios. No one knew who that band was, no one knew what that show was, no one knew what NBC was. Went to the Lego store.
Daddy, look, it's penguin.
Took a bunch of pictures of ourselves. Then we went into Brooklyn, we met up with my internet friend Glenn. Took a while to find each other, but we were at this park in the Richmond section of Brooklyn. This stuff. It was really great. There were maybe about 20 people. I asked him what advice he would maybe have for my students. This is a little bit long, but I really loved what he said so much, and I was so grateful that he took the time out to speak to my guys that the whole thing is here, so here you go. What advice would you give to your 15 or your 18-year-old self? Like,
I wouldn't give advice, I'd ask questions. And so one of the questions I'd ask is, what is it gonna take to activate you? You know what I'm saying? Like, what is it, like who's gonna have to die, what disease are you gonna have to get for you to like activate yourself, you know? Because life will activate you if you don't activate yourself, you know? And once you become something that is activated, then you happen to life. Otherwise, life is happening to you and you're taking it, you know? But when you know who you are, everything kind of changes, you know? So I would ask myself that question. What's it gonna take to activate you? What are you scared of? People's opinion is one thing that I used to care about, you know? Now that's something that's totally has, you know, it's just someone else's opinion. Like, I have uncles who I'm ashamed of, right? But they have opinions and they put them on Facebook. And if I knew that those type of people would give me, I'd be like, hey man, like, I don't care. You know what I'm saying? So everybody's got a Facebook. Everybody's got, you know, everybody's got an opinion. But those type of things aren't to be feared. You know what I'm saying? Those to be respected and appreciated from that, coming from that source. But they shouldn't define you. You know? And so, yeah, my 15-year-old self was scared, was lonely. I didn't know who I was becoming. And then the other question, the third question would be, what are you preparing for? Because every season is preparing. So you're in elementary school, you're preparing for middle school. Middle school, you're preparing for high school. High school, you're preparing for college or work life. You know, but those are very limiting places. You know, I think now, like, who am I becoming 20, 30 years from now? You know, what type of man, what type of grandfather will I be? What type of father will I be? And where will I be a pillar in my community? And the answer to that is yes. And I'm relentless about the 50 or the 20-year journey. I don't care about the next 5 years. Like, I already know where I'm going, you know? And so the longer you can plan out, the further you know where you're going, you know?
Yeah.
And so a lot of this stuff I didn't care about at 15 because I didn't know if I was gonna make it to 21. I didn't know if I was gonna make it to 25, so why would I care about that, you know? It's like live now.
what changed that for you?
I think like, well, it was more of, it was a long phase. It was, you know, being suicidal, you know what I'm saying, at a young age, kind of freaked me out, you know, because I figured like I might as well kill myself before the streets happen to me, you know what I'm saying? But really it was when I saw proof. I moved to California and I saw proof that it was possible for someone else, you know what I'm saying? I have a friend named Pat. At the time he had like 5 daughters, and he had a really healthy marriage. And I'd never seen anyone be married before, you know what I'm saying? And so when I saw someone who loved their wife, it was totally different from what I experienced.
Yeah.
And so what I realized then was that, oh, it's possible for me in whatever facet I wanted to. It doesn't have to look exactly like that, but it's possible for me, you know? And so when you see other people and they become proof for you, then it's easier to say, okay, this is this direction I want to go.
Yeah.
And so it's up to people like us, myself, people in the inner cities to be proof for the community around them. And so that's where Beleaf in Fatherhood kind of comes from. It's like, I don't have to be the example, I could just be the proof. You know what I'm saying?
You don't have to answer this question if you don't want to, but
I'm going to answer it.
All right.
No
So, what activated you? All right. Why did that change switch? What was that?
Well, when you have a kid, it like really like, you know, it's hard for me to be scared of anything. Like I have stage fright. I'm a rapper with stage fright. You know what I'm saying? So when I get into position, I have to look at my son and say, hey man, don't be scared of the water. You always get your hair washed. Then I always have to come back and look at myself for a circle and be like, okay, well, what are you scared of, chump? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, you can't sit up here and tell him to do something that you're not willing to do yourself. You know? And so I got to the point where I wanted to be a better man for my sons. And so even if you don't have sons, you're a father figure or someone looks up to you. So even at 15, I was an example for someone else coming behind me. I just didn't know, you know.
Yeah.
My little brother, I'm 15, he was 5. You know what I'm saying? So I was an example for him. I just didn't know. So now everything I do is like, oh, he sees at least the good option. Not the good, because I'm not saying that I'm good, you know what I'm saying? But he sees a better option than somebody else is showing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'd say, you know, it's funny you say that, but like, who I am is not the best.
Right.
But it's a hell of a lot better than a lot of other options, I think, and I forget that sometimes.
Yeah.
And because my natural tendency would be to like not think that, because I feel like I'm a narcissist if I do that. But
Yeah.
if I just own the fact that I am a narcissist, then I realize that like when dudes come over our house, or like we'll have students over sometimes for dinner or to have birthday parties for them and stuff, and they're often just blown away. They're like, you live in like, this is like a real house. Like you have stuff that matches, and like, you know, you like get along with your wife, like you said, or you know, you do that with your kids. Like you play Pokemon Go. I'm like, I know more than any 40-year-old man that I know about Pokemon Go. Like, you know, that's just, but that's because whatever they're down with is like what I decided I'm down with also. So
Giving people like the thoughts, the idea that they can be fathers, that's crazy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And so that's what I feel like I'm doing.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Appreciate you coming through.
Then that night, we met up with Genesis. I got to meet her husband for the first time. Got to see your house. We went out to dinner, this really great barbecue place. We filmed the latest episode of Student Spotlight. And then we came home. My wife started a new health regimen, which she's known for in the summer. Starting some kind of new healthy thing that I do out of solidarity because I love my wife. So that was this. Every summer, my wife comes up with some new health regimen that we need to follow. A couple summers ago, it was juicing. We drank beet juice. Last summer, what did we do last summer? Oh, we made our own kefir, which looked like brains, cow guts. It was awful. This summer, drinking large quantities of apple cider vinegar. And then I have to eat this honey right afterwards because it tastes like... Are you opening the trash case? You think I can't do it?
In case of
I did it yesterday, and Jen, I failed to record it. This is how you drink a whole cup of apple cider vinegar like a boss. So Sam Elliott and Patrick Swayze would have done it.
Exactly right.
Then my boy Brody, he's done 3rd grade. They had a like little moving up ceremony because he goes to a different school next year.
Brody Reynolds.
Then we went to the shore 2 times. I'm from Jersey, so we call it the shore, not the beach, and we had a great time. Oh, I didn't mention, that was for my wife's birthday. Happy birthday, wife. Wife for Life's birthday today, so we came down to the shore, Ocean City. It's our favorite spot. They said it was supposed to rain today, but we came down anyway, and then it turns out it's beautiful, and it's like really foggy, but the weather's great, and so we don't have any beach stuff for our kids. So they're digging with their shoes right now, and they're completely like wet and sandy, and it's not my thing. A lot of decisions are really funny when you have kids because you just think next year they're going to be a year older. I don't know if they're still going to want to do this stuff, so you just kind of let them do it. And
now he's using a shoe as a bucket to get water.
You got to see this. I mean, I do tell them make something from nothing all the time, so I guess good job, kids. I mean, you could pay a lot of money for your kids to do rides, or you could just take them to the empty benches at all the way at the end of the boardwalk, and it works just as well. That's what we do. Creepy, like Scooby-Doo-esque amusement park going on behind us.
There's that strange guy again.
What a time for a sideshow!
Come on, everybody.
I think we're gonna go do the super cheap mini golf, $5. Let's go. Hole in one. Get a hole in one. Hole in one. You want to clean it up? Hole in one.
Ah! Another turn when I did that.
It's cursed. This place is cursed. I sometimes mean a hole in one.
You scream!
First, Mac and Manco's pizza of the season. Best pizza in the world.
Don't blame me, people. I'm not a pizza fan.
This day was freezing. I literally could have worn pants and a sweatshirt on the beach, but you know who didn't care? My kids didn't care. They were in the water the whole entire time, running around, going nuts. We built this fortress, kind of looked weird. The kids loved it. They got really sandy. They played in the ocean all day. We were there for hours and hours and hours. Their fortress protected us against the sea, just pretty amazing. And that's that. This week coming up is the first week that I don't have school all week and the children don't have school all week. So we'll see what kind of interesting stuff that might provide. That's it. Thanks for watching, guys. Peace.